Hey, what's up, guys? Little man with a big opinion here. Throughout my time, prepping and, getting ready for the end of the world or the zombie apocalypse or, whatever, I started doing this, I think, when I was 15. Dad was always into guns. And then we started watching The Walking Dead together, and I had it dead set in my mind that's what was gonna happen, so I had to prepare for that. 7.5, almost 8 years later, that has evolved much further than what it was. Nowadays, I think a zombie apocalypse would be the easiest thing to handle on my prepping list. And sometime around 18, 19, I started asking my buddies that kind of thought the same way I do if they wanted to get into, prepping groups with me. We need to start a prepper group because strength in numbers. Some of them, have laughed. Some of them, were on board for a little bit. And then, now it's down to just me and one other friend of mine. And I've got to say, as I've aged out of wanting to, have, my preps together for a zombie apocalypse, and it's turned into something more realistic, like an economic collapse or, a breakdown of society or something like that. So too has the idea of me wanting a prepping group. Now I'm definitely set on the idea of a M.A.G, or a mutual assistance group. And I realized before setting that up, me and the one guy that had stuck it out, that's exactly what we're in. After I explained the idea and concept to him, he's like, holy cow, that's kind of what we're doing. And so, now that the story's out of the way, prepping group versus a M.A.G. In my eyes, a prepping group is, a group of guys that get together. It could be girls too, but, it's almost like a Saturday for the boys. And on these days, we go hunting and fishing, and, we gather up the guns, and, we're in the mindset of we're going to protect ourselves and our family. But I never saw the idea of a prepping group lead to a homestead, lead to, like a Surefire Mountain kind of thing with Pastor Joe Fox. Or the kind of thing that old Bear Independence got. I always saw, that was, just a dream that would never happen. And, the biggest, worries for situations like that are, you don't know if someone's going to turn on you, or, they want to leave prepping and they want to take all their stuff with you, and now you've got to find someone that either had those skills and supplies, or you're going to start adding that to your list, and, they threw the monkey on your shoulder. Well, the idea of a M.A.G, a mutual assistance group, first of all, those are the only two preppers that I watch that I think have set it up in a pretty good way. And that is, having a base requirement that you and your family have to have. You and your family have to have, and, if you're going to join, here's what you have to do. Maybe you have to move out to our area. Maybe you have to be in a certain vicinity. This area is the castle, and this is, our final hold-off point. And with the M.A.G, the big noticeable difference that I've seen is most of the time, if you join a MAG, you already have to be self-sufficient or working and building up to the point of being self-sufficient on your own. Was talking to my friend about that, and he agreed. His family's owned a cattle ranch for years, or not even, that's too small, for generations. His dad is like the fourth generation cattle farmer, and he's allotted a portion of the land that he can build his own house on and do what he wants, but he still goes home after he gets out of school, after he gets done working, and helps out. And if push came to shove, his family could live out there, sitting on a few hundred acres. Obviously, the cattle is their main source of meat. They raise chickens and goats and some pigs every once in a while. For the cows, they feed them mostly hay, and so they grow their own hay. They do some supplements with pellets and cubes and stuff. They grow, just enough plants for themselves. They're not in the vegetable, market. But they could be if they really wanted to, with the amount of land and the people that go out there and help them. And the only part of prepping that he's into, that he hasn't totally convinced the family, is doing the 1 year supply of food and then just growing on it and making it bigger and bigger. They do they never heard of it as a prepper pantry, but keeping 1 to 2.5 months worth of food in there at a time is what they do. And so I'm explaining this to him, and he's talking to his family about it. And I'm like, yeah, we've got the 6 months worth of food for us and our cats, and it's getting bigger. I discussed with him, and he's going to help me build some hooches so that we can put rabbits in it for myself. And after that, I'm not scaling the rabbits to make it my only source of meat, although I could with the amount of space I have. But it will definitely become anywhere between 20 and 35% of my protein intake, with the ability of saving another doe and a buck, just one buck, saving a second or even a third doe, and it could become the entire source of meat. So I'm well on my way to the self-sufficient lifestyle. We've got the raised beds in the back, and it's not costing me very much. Uncle Sam doesn't get their taxes out of my rabbits. And so I'm driving past someone I know. Small town. Not really. About 300,000 people. Had to let him know he's another Army buddy. But back to the story. So I'm on my way to being self-sufficient. I could take care of myself by myself, but then this is where the MAG comes in. Back to the idea of, prepping and, strength in numbers kind of thing. So, if you can take care of yourself on your own, and you can get other like-minded people that can take care of themselves on your own, and there's a friendship in there, there's a connection, or something that, binds those two families or people together, then, by all means, join up, because the only thing in the self-sufficient world that you can't really, accommodate heavily for is security. And I say that in the sense of, you could have 10,000 fully loaded, AR mags and, 9 rifles to accommodate for barrel overheating. Your entire house could be made out of concrete. But, eventually you're going to run out of food or the ability to grow it. Or eventually there's going to be enough people out there to stop you. Or you could get sick or hurt. And there's no one else to help take care of you. So, that's where the strength in numbers comes in hand. That's, the really big takeaway from, the prepper group. Looking at prepping, it's almost like that's the teenager, which, aligns perfectly for me. He wants a job, but he only wants it part-time, and he's doing it just enough to make ends meet. And then, the MAG is the adult that has to take care of himself, a household, and others. He knows his responsibility. He knows what he's got to get done. Got an accident on the highway. That's always fun. It's more responsibility, and it normally means you can put more time and effort into it. I'm not saying, being in a MAG should be your lifestyle. I'm not saying that that's all you have to do. Obviously, a lot of farmers would already almost be considered in a MAG. Or not in a MAG, but self-sufficient. People that do homesteading, they might not even want to be in MAGs. They might not even think about it as prepping. They're just looking at it in the sense of, it's cheaper for me to grow all my own food. We save so much more money, and we're going to do it this way. So homesteading definitely doesn't mean you're a prepper. Homesteading doesn't mean you're going to get into a MAG. But I think it's the pinnacle, the climax of, getting into a MAG. Because once you've established yourself as someone that can take care of yourself, that's when you can start helping other people. It's really hard to pull other people out of a hole if you're standing in the hole with them. Now, you can help them out if you're at the same level, but I think it's a lot easier to get yourself situated and secured, and then you can get other people situated and secured. So, hopefully that's a good explanation of a MAG versus a prepper group. Why I feel like I'm in a MAG now instead of, I didn't even know about that word until probably 8-9 months ago. Me and a friend of mine, the one friend that I believe and he believes we're gonna, fight this out together. We've had that mindset for about 1.5 years, maybe 2 years now. I can't think of the first time, we discussed, hey, I'm going to bring all my stuff out there. I can set up the rabbit coops or rabbit hooches, and, I'll grow rabbits, and, I've got this stored, and I'll do this, and I can take care of myself, but here's extra rabbit meat if you want it, and you do that, and, back and forth, mutually helping each other out. So, hopefully it's a good explanation. Hopefully it, sheds some light on, whether or not you think you want to be in a prepper group or you want to be in a MAG. A prepper group can only get you so far, in my opinion. A MAG is definitely a good end goal to have. Maybe your prepper group turns into a MAG once y'all, develop and civilize your skills to that point. But, if this information was useful to you, like the video, If you like what I'm doing with the channel, then please consider subscribing. It definitely helps me out. And with that, off to work and to make another paycheck. Peace.